Welcome back to Divided We Stand. I'm Victoria Lang. I'm here with Joe Aguirre, and honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I've made a bold decision today. If you're watching this, I'm feeling Halloweeny. What can I say? It's bold just like me. That's the vibes. I don't know if I like it, so if you hate it, that's okay, because I kind of hate it too.
You know, the more I'm looking at your getup here, the more I'm like, I don't hate it.
Loves it. I feel like it's making my teeth look very corn-like, if you will.
Yeah, I think if you're rocking that shade, you're probably going to want to use a crest strip.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Today, I also encourage our viewers, if you are a frequent one of our show, especially if you're watching it live, you might know that I cut out frequently. So maybe if you have a drink, you could play a drinking game. Every time I cut out or freeze up, you could take a sip or take a shot. We could really turn things up in here.
Why do you think that your internet's so lousy?
Because I don't know. I'm technologically, I'm hurt. I don't know. I can't figure it out. I just can't do it. I can't.
Technologically deficient? Is that what you were going for?
I suppose my vocabulary is also not it today. I was thinking earlier this morning when I was like doing my keys, I was like, you know what? I kind of have the vocabulary of a 40-year-old single man.
And yeah, that's sad.
It is sad. I need to really figure it out. Anyways, this has been like the intro of a century. Let me tell you that. We're going to be starting off by talking about retail workers. Everybody you see everywhere you go. Sorry about it. What is faster than that? Like, I can't even make it. Whatever. See,
boy.
like, we know it's like an every single day occurrence. It's fine. It's fine. And like, I can't even make a joke about like what I could make it to. I have no idea how any of that stuff works. That is so sad. That's sad.
It is tragic even.
Anyways, everybody's quitting their jobs. And obviously I shouldn't because I can't, you know, I'm not qualified to do anything else. But it's like a big thing everywhere that you go. There's like hiring signs. And honestly, if this was like a year or two ago for me, this would have been yippee skippy day. Because I remember it used to be so hard to find like little retail jobs when I was looking for that kind of thing still. What do you think about that? Like, what do you do when there's no essential workers?
All right. So this is one of those chicken or the egg problems, I feel like, because retail's never paid well and they treat people poorly, both the customers and the management. And so why would anybody do that? You know what I mean? It still doesn't feel safe. If you're in a state where you could still get unemployment benefits, why would you want to go work retail? Not to mention the people on the right, when they're talking about minimum wage not going up, they're specifically talking about fast food and retail. So this is the problem. And this is why, you know, we talk about this stuff all the time. Like, this idea that, you know, don't raise the minimum wage if companies can afford it. They're not going to. Do you think your company's going to be like, you know what? Sales are so good, we're just going to start dishing out raises. There's a reason every time somebody does something like that, whether it's a bonus or, you know, a guy's got minimum wage $15 an hour at his restaurant, it's front page news. They do like a whole spread about the guy. Because that's a rare occurrence in business. People don't want to give their workers money. And so the workers don't want to work there anymore. I don't know what the disconnect is or how they don't understand that. I saw the state of Connecticut was offering people who went back to work $1,000 bonus if you stayed on, I think, like 3 months. People were like, that's... Again, the idea
exactly when you're getting unemployment every month, $1,000 is like whatever. Like, really, you expect me to go and work for an extra $1,000?
Yeah, but see, here's the thing. I don't think people, and I hear this a lot, and I argue with, I guess, people to the right is how I'll explain this, who feel like the problem is people are lazy. Why would anybody want to go work at J.C. Penney if that dump is still even open for $8 an hour? Why would anybody do that?
Right.
So you can get COVID? Yeah, awesome.
Which people did. Like there was like a bunch of people working in the middle of the pandemic, which that's what I'm confused about is why is it just now that everybody's like, "Oh, we're getting the unemployment." Like I don't get that. Like why were people not getting it in the middle of it? Cuz that's another problem. When I was applying for anything, I really needed to be on unemployment in the middle of the pandemic. I couldn't get literally anything. I didn't get any of my stimulus checks until like a couple weeks ago. That's crazy.
I was well taken care of, and I do appreciate that. As Sketch says, it's about profit over people. I'm still waiting for the trickle-down economics to work. It's time we change the term minimum wage to a living wage. It's funny how we just sort of dismiss that word. How much do I get? How much do I get at this job? Minimum wage. I'm going to pay you
as least as I possibly
the least amount of money I could legally pay you and get away with.
Right.
Why would I want to work for that person in the first place, let alone in a pandemic? Imagine how high safety standards are for people that are paying minimum wage. I'll bet you the safety conditions are also minimum.
Oh yeah, they don't care about anything that like happens to you or anything when you work at a minimum wage job. If you want, yeah, why don't we? We have the time. I'm going to tell y'all's a story from when I was 16 years old working at my first minimum wage job. Here I was. I'm at Subway. I am in Connecticut. I'm in a small town and I am closing the store by myself, 16 years old at 11 o'clock at night. Right? Me against the big bad world. Me and my sandwiches and my butter knives against the world, just taking it all in, right? These three guys, they walk by, then they walk by again, and then they try to break into the Subway. That little old me is standing in, and then they come by and they do it every single day. They're screaming my name until I had to call the cops so many times where they got like banned from that entire strip because they were literally harassing a 16-year-old girl. And then cherry on top, I didn't quit after that because guess what? Victoria Lang is not a quitter. You can't scare me. I'm too big and bad for anything. Forget about it. That's it. That's how I was raised. Anyways, so here I am. I'm working. I'm making a sandwich. This lady walks in. I'm like, she don't look too good. She goes to my bathroom. There for 45 minutes. I call my mom. I'm like, Mom, what do I do here? She's like, probably call the cops. I call my boss first. I'm like, boss, what do I do here? She's like, call the cops for show. I call the cops. The cops get there. She is pissed about that. I called one of my family members and my boss called her son and they came down to the rescue. But the cop walked outside and the lady ran behind the counter, grabbed one of my knives and tried to come at me until my peeps had to save. They held her back and the cop came back inside. It was a whole event. And there was a customer watching too. I had to make a spicy Italian after this. I'm crying in the sandwich. It was that was my last day. But I'm telling you, minimum wage, no good. They don't care. Sorry, Subway. We are not getting a Subway sponsorship, my friend. We are not. I'm sorry. Jared Fogle, I don't know.
Let me tell you a little something about me that you and I have in common. When I was a boy in high school, I also was a certified sandwich artist working over at Subway.
Dang, for life.
And the worst thing that ever happened to me was I made this guy a 6-inch sub, and when I sprinkled the salt and pepper on, the top popped off. And it spilled everywhere, and I wiped it quick without him seeing. And I gave it to him, and he went out to his car. I assumed must have eaten it there because he walked back in like 2 minutes later, and he threw the sandwich at me.
With a heart look. He was fried out like a sardine. Too.
Yeah, I made $4.50 an hour to work at Subway. Do you have any idea how little I cared about that work. I mean,
Right?
honestly, if somebody would have walked in there and been like, I'm robbing the place, I'd have been like, here's the keys. I'll open the register and now I'm going to leave. I don't,
Mhm.
what?
No, literally, like
Listen,
literally.
I'm from Meriden. Okay. One of the biggest things of my lifetime was it's an unsolved case. A dude working at a Domino's Pizza at like 1 o'clock in the morning. Guy came in to rob him, like $80 out of the register and put a bullet through the guy's head. What?
That is
Right?
what? That is what? Right there.
I can't believe I'm listening to two former sandwich artists. I don't know if that's a compliment or a total insult. Props to you both. I could never work with food
With the
because people
dudes.
suck. I'll tell you what, that's probably I was 16. I don't think I've had a real job like that since that job. I knew right then and there that I wasn't gonna. I worked retail actually in the summertime, over college at a JC Penney, as a matter of fact, and it was again.
I
I
feel like
was
that must have been better. I feel like that must have
yeah.
been more laid back, the demographic of a JCP rather than a Subway, you know?
Well, so I had a style. I was a young, vibrant gentleman, and I sold shoes. I worked in the shoe department, and I would literally walk up to people who were shopping and be like, "Dude, for real with those kicks? That's what you're going with?"
Love that for you.
I go up to women and be like, "Why are you being out with a guy with shoes like that? Like, let's get this." You know what I mean? Like sometimes they get a little pissed, but that was sort of my move.
Mhm.
But
So you were
no,
getting what is it when you get the money that
commission.
you were getting that commission too?
Commission. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. So I was
Mhm.
very
Not
aggressive.
just minimum wage. That's where you get the coin. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You had the chance. Subway, no,
But
you ain't had that.
do you know what happens at a commission job if you don't make any money?
You get fired for real?
You owe them money.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah. You're
What?
basically working on a zero net scale. And then, yeah, it's not a good. It's not good. Yeah, not good.
I wonder if it's still like that. Do you think, or do you know?
I think it is.
That sounds absolutely insane. I've never heard of such a thing.
Isaiah, by the way, said 450. Here's the keys. We can split the money. Yes, that's what you do when you get robbed. You're like, dude, I will turn the cameras off. Let's do this right. We'll meet in an hour.
I'll pretend
Just
like you're my
kidding.
friend right now.
Yeah,
Let's
I'm
hug or
planning a
something.
heist. That's not good. But Isaiah also pointed out his unemployment money got held up, and now they told him that he owes them because they gave him too much.
Oh, mhm. How do you disprove that?
Yeah, I don't know. Hey, but it's like, sorry that you didn't have any money during the pandemic, and now that you still don't, we'd like some of that back. Ha! Not good.
Oh.
But yeah, listen, retail is not a good job. Nobody enjoys doing retail.
Mhm.
And as long
No,
as it's a poor experience and we're still in a pandemic, I don't know that problem's gonna solve itself anytime soon.
I agree, but like, hear me out. I was thinking the only logical concept, because I've heard of this before, they were even talking about people quitting and stuff.
If you're playing at home, this is the first time you'll be drinking tonight. I'm not sure. I feel like Victoria was about to go. Um, Sort of like anti-retail workers. I think that might have been what was happening. That was interesting. But yeah, there's a real serious problem right now in this country where people still don't want to put themselves out there in a pandemic for lousy money. And I don't know why anybody is confused by that or why anybody keep drinking it up, people. That's what it's all about. We'll get Victoria back here in a minute. If minimum wage was just due inflation, it would be $24 an hour. That's insane.
I'm watching, literally, I have it on my phone right now and I'm watching how it froze. Yeah, I hope everybody just took a shot. How it froze right there, that was my 13th reason. I am so mad about that. Oh my God, are you
It's a
kidding?
great pop culture reference.
Thank you. Thank
really
you.
good.
It's a good one. Oh my
Okay,
God.
whoa, I love this. Okay, pandemic is over. Let's talk about legalization of marijuana in the big CT. We should talk about
Oh,
that for a
so
minute
true.
because I think it's a good thing that's happening. I do. And the state's going to be taxing it at 3%, and our state has, even though it's the richest state in the country, we have a serious problem with our pension program for the state workers. Yeah, it's
I'm
big.
confused about what that means.
So they signed a deal with the teachers union some years ago, basically kicking money around. Like, that we'll fix that problem in the future.
Oh, heard that.
Yeah, now it's called CBAC. It's a disaster, but we need money, and so weed is the way to go.
That's what my mom says. She says
Listen,
Lamont doesn't really like it, but he likes it because of the money. That's what I heard.
Listen, he's a millionaire who sees an opportunity and he's like, let's do that. Yeah, that's the worst that's going to happen. I think for anybody who's concerned about marijuana and what that might look like, there's states that are already doing it. And there's not been any issues in any of those states.
Look up the amount of marijuana overdoses that there have been.
There's no such thing.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
No such thing.
You freak out a little bit and get
I know people who are horrified by marijuana. Like that think that marijuana is like in the same category as like heroin.
Well, that's what they categorized it as before. Like, you could literally get arrested and charged. It's a class A drug or something like that, or
whatever the most severe is,
and it's crazy.
Yeah, it's a weird thing, but
also, I think everybody talks about this, but how people who how are you okay with alcohol and not okay with that? You know what I mean? I can totally understand every other drug, but I don't know. I just feel like if you do any kind of research on it, you will find the amount of deaths caused by marijuana versus alcohol. Alcohol is like really bad for you. Even
what do we tell our teen children? Well, I'll tell you what you can tell kids. I'll never forget. My kids came home. They had gone through DARE, and I wasn't even aware of it. And they came home, and they were like, hey, we learned about this really dangerous alcohol today. And I was like, oh, yeah? And they're like, they said one try could kill you. And I was like, holy crap. Like, what is going on? What are people doing these days? I was like, what is it? And she was like, marijuana. And I was like, oh, marijuana. And she's like, yeah. They said it could kill you. And I was like, it could give you the munchies. What? Here's the whole thing. Look, I think marijuana is a lot like alcohol. I mean, it's not something to abuse. Mm-hmm. It's not something that you should have in your car and driving around with. Blunt runs are fun when you're a kid, but when you're an adult, it's not. You're operating a vehicle. That's you got to be safe with that. But it's not a dangerous thing. It doesn't lead to doing other drugs. Most people that smoke pot just smoke pot, and that's about it.
I think that there should be education on I feel like we need to talk a lot more about, I feel like people do try to normalize it a lot, almost if it were like tobacco or something, especially when you do it a lot. Like, the way people talk about it is like to people who don't really use it a lot. I feel like people kind of forget how it can really impact you, especially if you don't do it a lot, you know what I mean? Or if it becomes it can become a regular part of your life, just like alcohol, like how that can turn into a real problem too. So I think that there definitely needs to be education on the abuse of it, because that is a common misconception that you can't get like addicted to weed, because you can get addicted to anything. You can get addicted to food or like literally anything. So just be aware of that kind of stuff. And I would say that that is the best thing to probably say to your teenagers. But, other than that, I feel like alcohol is way worse for the most part.
Oh yeah, but how about this? Just how about tell your kids anything in moderation is okay.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do anything stupid in public, and moderation, that's key.
All right, moving on to our next right here. This is gonna be like a little quickie because I feel like we're kind of tired. Billie Eilish, she just got caught saying a racial slur. I didn't even watch the video. I didn't go searching for it. I like didn't even. That kind of stuff doesn't really interest me at this point. She is a kid and she did grow up. It's not like she grew up in the slums or anything. She grew up in a really nice neighborhood around like fairly, I would say, educated people who should know not to say that kind of stuff. Do you give people a pass because they're young? Do you just like move on? Should we not even be talking about it? Should we like what do you think about that?
Well, I think first and foremost, if you're Asian, I think that's probably like on you to decide. Do you not want to
She's
like
not
Billie
Asian.
Eilish? No, I know she's not, but the racial slur she used was
Oh, I didn't
against
see, I don't even know
Asian
what she
people.
said.
Yeah, I'll tell you what the word was because it's not a bad one. It was the
Ooh,
word chink, which
ooh.
is has been there was a New York Knicks basketball player named Jeremy Lin a few years ago, and he had a huge game. And then he had a game where they really needed him to step up and he didn't, and the New York Post the next day, like, their headline was a chink in the armor. Like, that's not cool, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, if to my
So
understanding,
again,
she was
listen,
not
I'm saying
saying it like,
if you're Asian and you're like, she's a racist, I don't want to buy her music, then good, don't. I don't really know who Billie Eilish is. I know that
how?
one, I know the song she had,
Mm,
people think she's super cool. I don't. To me of Lord.
love that you know Lord, but you don't know Billie Eilish. I feel like she's like way
We
more your
already had somebody like that. I don't.
Mhm.
Why do we need a Billie Eilish? Lord was great and she's a better singer. But all that aside, um, I have such an issue with this kind of stuff. Like, I think she was 14 when she did it. I mean, what do we want from her? She said, like, I was stupid when I was a kid. I shouldn't have said that. Yeah, all right, lesson learned. I think the problem is when people double down on like, well, that I don't like. Yes, no, you did. It is definitely not a good word. And it's a shame that she. But again, it's like, what are you going to say to a 14-year-old? At the time, I mean, she
Well,
said
my
something
question
stupid in a
is,
video, and it's like, all
her
right, you're
whole
not,
family is like
as
in
long as
the
she's not
limelight,
doing it
and then you
now,
address them. Like, you know what I mean? You're like, hey,
right?
parents, like, why did your 14-year-old kid think that it was okay to go around saying that? You
Right.
know?
Well, that's the
And
bigger
you
issue here.
can't be
At the
like,
end of the day, that's the bigger issue, Victoria, is right. Where do you learn a word like that?
mhm,
I remember as a kid, man, hearing jokes and racial slurs. I didn't even know what any of those were. And now in hindsight, I'm like, how did that kid know? Like, how
right.
racist was your dad? Probably, if he was, I heard all the jokes from like that kid. Where was he hearing it from? So I don't know. I think it does start at home. And I think both sides kind of bang that drum, but you know,
Mhm. Another question that I have is, do you think that it's right for people to be, like, digging up stuff from when people were 13, 14 years old? And I know that she's the same age as me. She's, like, 19, 20. Do you think that that's, like, appropriate? Because
yeah,
let
I
me tell
do.
you,
I do.
I said some fucked up shit when I was, like, a kid. Like, and I am not even gonna lie about that. But who I
Oh,
am right
boy.
now
Okay, I look
is so
forward to those tapes coming out.
I'm telling yous. I am telling yous. 14-year-old me canceled. Canceled before she was even started. Before she was even started. So, but I do think that it is like I do think that people should be held accountable for that kind of stuff because it's like, oh my God, like how did you generate those thoughts? And it is important. Like, where did you learn that
Yeah,
from?
but we live in a world where Brock Turner got 6 months of probation for raping
And that's
somebody.
so not cool. Like,
So no,
what? That's not
that's what
cool.
I'm saying. Like Victoria, at the end of the day, right? Like I said, I'll never buy anything that Billie Eilish creates in my lifetime. I don't care for her. This didn't. I wasn't like, oh, I mean, I saw this and I thought, yeah. I mean, again, it just goes to show that 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, nobody gave a crap. People just said whatever they said and they put it out there on the internet. I think you could probably go back and bust most people for things they've said or done in their past. And when I said, look, she's not doing it now. Yeah, it's out there. It's out there. And like I said, anybody who decides that they don't like her for that, good.
Right.
And then you should. But I still struggle because I like R. Kelly's music a lot. It's really
Did you
good.
get your passports? Did you get your shots? Do you want to come with Rob back to America? Have you ever seen that? Do you
Yeah, it's
know?
amazing.
Bro,
Thanks for
that's
doing
not
that.
amazing. He's like trying to.
No, I understand. It's a song though. I mean, like, right? What's that Christmas song?
I literally can't.
The
Is
one
he
where the guy's
okay?
like, stay for a drink and you can get wasted and sleep here tonight. And she's like, oh, I mustn't. What's that
That is
song?
so not
Everybody
the
was
same as "Did you
no,
get your
no,
passports?
no, no,
Did
no.
you get
Listen,
your shots?"
I'm just saying, look, it's a song, and you can assume you know what it means, or I used to think the song "Rooster" was about heroin, and I just found out it's about the lead singer's dad.
Hmm.
Yeah, I had no idea, and then I listened to the song, and I'm like, oh wow, how about that? Baby, it's cold outside. Thank you. Yeah, I couldn't think of that for the life of me. But again, listen, my point is, look, people say and do things. I think if you're not out there being an evil bastard, like R. Kelly is a villain. He should be in prison. That guy's insane. And I have to believe some of those allegations are true. One of them's true. He's a bad person. So again, at the end of the day, is Billie Eilish a bad person for using a racial slur when she was 14? If you think yes, don't buy her music ever again. You could totally cancel her out. If you don't care that much, then you're going to just go on like life is, life just marches on. That's sort of how it goes. I hate that, Victoria. I do. But again, what do we do? You're going to like go back and I mean, they try to do the thing with Jimmy Kimmel and the blackface.
Because it's like, why would you do that? At no point in my life was I like, yeah, like that's appropriate. Like if I was gonna go and dress up as Oprah for Halloween, never have I ever thought it was Oprah, even though I have said some questionable things, I will reiterate. I never thought that was okay. Never would I ever do that, put on blackface. That was so not okay. And I understand that it wasn't like malicious intent. And we've had this conversation before, but I don't think blackface in any context is okay. Sneezing.
No, it's not. It's definitely not okay. It's shocking. Well, I guess what gets me is how many people did it. I just was watching something. God, it was something with Dan Aykroyd. It's a Dan Aykroyd movie I was watching the other night, and he's in blackface in the beginning of it. And I thought, oh, it's Dan Aykroyd. Like, nobody cares because he's like, super nice guy. You know what I mean? Because here's the other thing. It's hard to contextualize things, right? I don't even know what she said or in what way, shape, or form she used that word. I have no idea. Okay. And it doesn't matter. Or does it? You know what I mean? Was she directing that specifically at a person? That's pretty bad. And if you're saying that word to an Asian person specifically, And then you're like, I didn't know. Come on.
Yeah.
Really?
Okay.
You didn't know? You went right to the one slur that fits that group? No, I don't think so. Here's my thing too. Like, right, Victoria, if you apologize and you're like, yeah, look, I've said this before. I'll admit this now. I used to say things were gay all the time. And I also used to call anything that wasn't smart retarded. And then somewhere in like the early 2000s, I was told from people, can't say that anymore. And I was like, why not? And they were like, it's insensitive. You're hurting people's feelings. And I was like, oh.
That is highly
Sorry,
debated.
I'll stop.
Like, especially I won't say it, but like the R word one, like calling things that.
Retarded?
Yeah, how do you feel
retarded
about
means?
that? Oh, yeah, you're just.
You know what retarded means, or what to retard something is? It just means to slow it down. We took a useful word like retarded, we applied it to a group of people as a slur, and then we were like, can't say that word anymore. The word still has a purpose.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Sorry, all I heard in trying to put children to bed.
My wife literally just came over here to yell at me for that term. Again, you're missing the point.
Be on camera.
No, you don't have to be.
Trying to get the children to bed, and hey, Victoria, all
Howdy.
I hear is the word retarded has some use.
It
And
does.
I'm like, I need to come over and correct this person. No, honey, but like the word you guys
right,
know
honey,
about,
but no, I'm saying you wouldn't apply if you apply the word to a person, you're being disrespectful. That's bad. So we're trying to not do that kind of stuff. Again, it's not the word, it's the intent behind the word.
Say
When
goodnight
you
to Victoria. Say goodnight, Victoria.
Victoria.
oh,
Good night.
say bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
All right. Well, that was interesting.
I love you.
I love you
Special
too.
guest.
Well, how about that? A little guest appearance tonight. Again, what I mean to say is, it's the intent. It's not the words that are really the offensive thing. It's how you're directing it. I mean, when people are like, how come black people could use the N-word with each other? Well, they're using it as a term of affection. They're not using it as an insult to one another. If they did, they'd be fighting. So it's how you use a word, And again, when I was literally the first time somebody was like, yeah, when you call things gay or retarded, you're like implying those people. And I'm like, oh, no, I didn't mean it like that. And they're like, well, that's how it is. And I was like, stop saying it then. That was easy to do, Victoria.
Right.
I wasn't like, well, how I can't say that word. That sucks. I mean, again, when I thought about it and it was like, oh, I guess that is kind of a crappy thing, If people started using like the word Joe Aguirre to mean something negative, I would be upset about that. I'd be like stop doing that.
If you were, say you're at JCPenney, picture me this, you're in your retail job, you walk up to somebody and you tell them that their shoes are mad Joe Aguirre. You're like, them puppies Joe Aguirre. Get them out of here.
That would really hurt my feelings. So like, again, I totally get that. I'm not trying to make anybody feel bad. If Billie Eilish apologized, I think that's a nice step. If she's sincere and maybe she goes out and does something, for Asian people. I don't know what it is. And I'm just sort of spitballing here, but
she's got the coin.
Put your money where your mouth is. Put your money where your mouth is. You know what she could do? You know what I think would be super helpful? And Kristen Mullaney, who's Asian and who has commented a few times. Tell me if you like this. Put your money where your mouth is. Why don't you make a big donation to those groups that are fighting the Asian hate that our president caused because of the pandemic? I see a lot of these stop the hate groups. Why doesn't Billie Eilish put her money where her mouth is, make a huge donation, maybe do a PSA about hatred towards Asian people? That to me would be like, oh, okay, that girl really means it. And I mean like a big donation. I'm talking like half a million. Drop that and then tell me that you're sorry and I'll buy it.
Right. So what do you know about Britney Spears, Free Britney? What do you know about that? Caught up on this?
Listen, I met Britney Spears in 1998.
Which we have already.
I've told you the story.
If you guys missed it, It was
Also
so
met Justin
wonderful.
Timberlake and Janet Jackson that day, but that story's for another time if you haven't already heard it.
No big deal.
I was in radio, obviously, when I met Britney Spears in 1998, and I didn't really understand the sexual exploitation of women, but I certainly understood it when I saw it in that context. Like, oh, I don't like what people are doing to this girl, that Christina Aguilera girl, and Jessica Simpson. It was bad. Here's something funny too. Total side note for anybody who's a big Aerosmith fan like I am. The video "Crazy," which features Steven Tyler's own daughter Liv and Alicia Silverstone, the actress from Clueless. They're in this video, super sexy video. It was one of my favorites as a young man. And I just found out in the video, Liv Tyler is 16. And yes, Alicia Silverstone had just turned 17. Bleh! Don't ever want to watch that video again.
It's like a band. It's like I think her name is like Taylor Momsen or something.
Yes.
And she did a music video when she was like 16 or something, and she was like half naked, like more than half naked in the video, and it was insane. Like, how do you get away with that kind of stuff? Like, that is
right. In the case of Steven Tyler, it's like he's sexually exploiting his own daughter. And I think the Britney Spears thing is similar in that obviously this girl had like a serious mental meltdown. And what I could tell you about Britney Spears pre-meltdown was she was kind of dumb.
Oh.
She wasn't like a really smart person. I remember they asked her about going overseas, and she said she was really excited to visit Canada. Just stuff like that. Like, it was clear that this wasn't a smart person. And again,
is that not over a sea? Excuse me. Oh, see?
Canada's not, Canada's not overseas, right?
No, I know nothing about Canada.
Do you know where Canada is?
North Af. So north.
It is north. You're right.
I know, right?
If you get to Minnesota, you just keep going north and you're right there in Canada. There's no seas to fly over. It's a direct route from anywhere in the continental US. But anyway, Britney was a mess, and I can't believe I'm shocked that this is still happening. That she still has the concern. Like, I don't even understand it. Like, that's bizarre. Well, I feel like she signed a bad deal a long time ago and can't get out of it.
She no deal. See, this is where you're confused. This is where I come in. You may know that Canada is just north. You may know that you can drive to Canada, but I know that they fought to put Britney in this conservatorship. She didn't want part of this.
Maybe right? No, I knew that. I knew that, but there's a reason she was in it.
Yeah, because I totally agree that she may have had some drug problems and definitely whatever, but the conditions that they had her in, who wouldn't? And also, what other celebrity didn't have those kind of problems at that time? You look at Lindsay Lohan, you looked at any of the other Disney stars or anything. Why weren't they in conservatorships? I'll tell you why. Because they wanted Britney's money, and that's why she's still in it, and that's why she can't do anything, and she can't leave her house, and she burnt down her gym, and she's making weird TikToks. Have you seen her TikToks in the yellow shirt where she's walking to the weekend and stopping?
I don't see TikTok yet.
Yeah, but it's everywhere. It's that bad. And it's Britney. So even though it's on TikTok, TikTok is a platform, I thought you may have made it to you.
No, my wife, who everybody just met, every day shows me 3 or 4 TikTok videos. Most of them are terrible.
I hope.
Rarely see any of the good ones, but yeah.
TikTok.
Worse than the Britney thing is, and I don't know, are you familiar with her sister Jamie Lynn Spears?
Yeah, and she's a big part of why she's still in it, because she wants that coin too.
Yeah.
And she just made this whole big thing, and it's not even coming out. They promoted this whole Zoe 101 reboot, which she was in. If you guys are unfamiliar, she was in Zoe 101 when she was she was 14 to 16 or something like that. And when she was 16, she got pregnant with an older guy. He was way older, right?
I don't know if he was way older, but he was definitely statutorily older.
There's theories that it's Dan Schneider, but if Dan Schneider, you're watching this, it wasn't you.
I've heard that rumor too. I've
He
heard
be
that.
getting people. He like takes down like the most random people. He's like, you do not say that about me. He'll come for your life. That Nickelodeon. Anyways, so Jamie Lynn gets pregnant and she can't do Zoe 101 anymore. So now they were like promoting this reboot. They hired all of these like TikTok kids to be in this music video to distract from all this Free Britney stuff because there's no reboot coming out. It was just like this little to keep all of her money. And I think it's really messed up. What's up with that, Jamie? And also, if my sister's watching this, you better not do me like that. Because, we all know that we're going down that route. If anything,
That's fair.
We're getting a conservatorship.
I've always felt really bad for Britney Spears. Like I said, I was kind of close to the action, and just sort of see what was going on with this person was sort of tragic. And the other thing I never really liked, and they certainly, again, she was 16 or 17 when she broke onto the scene, and oops, I did it again and that stuff. And it's like, wait a minute, that girl's like 16.
She was like in a school too, and everybody was like,
no, that's what I'm saying, dude. Who was the singer? The 13-year-old singer. Whatever her name was, they had the clock going for when. Like, dude, what is wrong with you?
That was Billie Eilish.
Mothers.
That was her.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I have a real issue with that.
Me too. Same thing. We talked about it before. Bad Baby. Like everybody was counting down for her OnlyFans and stuff. I guess we can't say too much about that, but
yeah. Again, we live in a sick society, man. We really do.
Yeah, no good at all. Next I wanted to talk about our favorite conspiracy theories, but like mine has kind of left my mind. So Joe, do you have a conspiracy theory? Because like I didn't really even like want to talk about like our favorite ones. I almost wanted to talk about like the most outlandish, like you believe that for real. That's nice. Conspiracy theories.
Oh boy. I mean, I do have questions about the moon landing. I definitely do. I've seen enough to make me think that it's, could it have happened? Yes, given the times and the fact that we were competing with Russia to get there first. Is it possible that they faked it? Yes. Do I think we've gone to space since? Yes, I definitely do. I know that from the pictures that we've taken, but I do wonder if the original moon landing wasn't a fake job, propaganda, if you will, against the Soviet Union. So that's one that I kind of believe a little bit.
Do you have any 9/11 conspiracy theories?
Well, Tower number 7. It's funny. I got a buddy who's a lunatic. And he maybe watched this video about Tower 7, which if anybody knows about the towers, it's like it was shorter and off to the side. And it collapsed also that day. And people were like, nothing fell on it. There was no structural damage to it. There was, a lot of nonsense. But again, at the end of the day, do I believe that the government staged it? No, I just don't. I don't. That's a lot. There's a lot to that. And I'll tell you something about 9/11. There were so many people on that airplane that could have done it. There were delegations from multiple different countries that had every reason to blow that airplane up. So I don't know. There's a lot going on with that is all. Earth is flat is definitely one. I'm actually we have a conspiracy theory show on our network now. I don't know if you know this or not. It's called
I did. That's kind of why I wanted to talk about the ones that because you guys talk about like good ones. I want to talk about like really shitty, like the worst ones that people believe.
There's a new episode dropping on Thursday, and then Thursday night, and this will drop on I think July 1st will be the date. We are talking to like the guy behind the flat Earth like society, like the guy. We're gonna interview him, and I'll tell you, we talked to this dude from Australia the other day about the flat Earth theory, and there's so much wrong with it. you know? Because here's the thing. They say that it's got to be flat because the horizon doesn't bend. That's the one thing they kind of hang their hat on. And it's like, how do you explain, satellite pictures? Where do airplanes go if it's not a sphere, if it's just a flat earth? Also, and I've talked to a couple of them now, some believe that there's ice walls on the end of the flat earth. Yes, seriously. And some, they're like, no, it just flows like at the end, and it just like what holds it up. Yeah.
A family moment.
Everybody's hanging in the Clovercrest studio tonight.
So
Big
nice.
doings.
Good
Big
night.
doings.
I'm like part of the fam tonight. I
The
love
wife
it.
just was yelling down. Good night, Victoria. Nobody cares. There's an on-air light, a big on-air light, and that's what I get for it. Nobody cares.
I love it. I literally love it. It should be a weekly thing.
The conspiracy theory I'm the most interested in is that Las Vegas shooter, the guy that shot like 100 people, wounded another 500. Never really got a lot of answers from that.
What is the theory there? Like that?
Well, there were supposedly multiple shooters. There were talks of I remember a buddy sent me a video of a helicopter that might have been participating. All sorts of craziness. But yeah, that's definitely another really good one. The Denver International Airport is the Illuminati's headquarters. Supposedly under this airport is a massive facility. I just saw a documentary the other day completely disproving the Denver International Airport. I was very disappointed because, again, it looks like you're like, that could be real. It totally looks real. Is Tupac really in Cuba? Maybe.
Fucking Cube. Nice.
I like to think Tupac Shakur faked his own death. I mean, that album certainly makes you think he did, 5G causes cancer and COVID-19. Well, 5G did show up, as did COVID. Cancer's always been around, but I'm sure it just makes it worse.
Bruh. That was a bruh moment. I thought that you were about to go with that and be like, well, actually, ever since 5G.
You never know. I'm just saying. Again, you and I were just laughing about it last week. The vaccine, they're going to be tracking us. And it's like, you idiot, you're carrying a device that we can locate you at any moment we want. And all your financial records are also all on that phone.
On that phone. Yeah, no. Sometimes I think about it and I'm like, oh, like the amount of stuff that's on my phone is like so bad. Like it's like a person at this point. And like somebody can totally have access to all, like that is so crazy.
Facts.
Anyway.
Yeah, your whole world's on that thing. Everything that you own and that you need is on that phone. And if something happens to that phone, you're freaking out. Yes?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Not like, yeah, I used to freak out like a lot more because I used to be like, but now it's like, okay, if somebody has my social security number, I'm like, okay, what are you going to take? For real? Like, take my identity. You want to switch? Is that like a thing? Could you trade? Could we do a trade off? Like, who are you?
Let's not forget that this 5G chip and the COVID vaccine are all Bill Gates linked.
Absolutely.
And then he left his wife. Yeah, we know what that guy's up to.
Oh my God. Yeah, honestly, I've been thinking about it. I was like, I feel like everybody should just go back to freaking minute phones, burner phones. It's crazy. My phone is almost as much as a car payment. That's a conspiracy theory. How about that? Why are phones so expensive? 21.
Victoria's connection is being tampered by the CIA. That's definitely a conspiracy theory.
Agreed.
I like that one. That could be. You never know.
I heard that Jeffrey Epstein is still alive, and I think that maybe it's him.
Imagine.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Imagine.
You're a little old for Jeffrey Epstein. You're kind of aging out for him.
I definitely am. He would be like inviting me to come back with them at this point.
You're his version of a cougar.
Totally vibes. I feel like honestly, lately I've been like, I look like I'm 30. I look like a MILF, if anything. Like I look so old. I was with like 30-year-olds yesterday, and I was like, gonna have to get Botox in the next 10 years. I'm really upset about it. Thank you. Sorry that I just had that rant. Sorry, I just
didn't
had
know
like
what to say to that.
I had a whole 30-year-old moment
you know,
right there. I'm
you
so
do
sorry.
you do look older. You do look like a grown up. I will say that for
Grown-up
your age.
vibe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're like an old soul. You're 19, you look 35, and you act like you're 70.
Also, oh my God, I've been meaning to talk about with somebody all week. Look at my arm right now. If anybody knows, I have tattoos, and I've had this one for a pretty long time at this point, and I have never noticed this until I was looking at myself like in the camera the other day. I had all these bracelets on, and I have like a Stevie Nicks Fleetwood Mac tattoo. It says Gold Dust Woman. I'm a cornball. I'm aware of that, but it just says Dust Woman when all of this when it's covered. Like it literally looks like I was like holding it up in the camera, and I was like, literally, it says Dust Woman. Like it looks like I have I tattooed myself to say Dust Woman, baby. That's me. I've just been getting a kick out of it all week. I just think it's so funny.
I would just switch hands if I was you on the bracelets. I think
I think it's hysterical, so I'm just rocking with it. And like I kind of caught myself, and I was like, that I really need to address it so nobody like catches me in 4K and is like, dude, what? Do you need help for real? Like
Dust Woman. Oh my God, that's more of a request, isn't it?
What do you mean?
Dust Woman.
Yeah, maybe I should get a comma or something in between.
Yeah, I think it'd be great. Yeah.
Mega Dusty. 30 Dust Woman. Anyways, I don't know if any of y'all really follow this or watch up, but if you know the H3 podcast, they're my favorite over there. Aside from us, it's H3. And I follow up with them. So they just posted today, Steven Crowder, if you're familiar with who that is. Thank you.
That's
if anybody,
hilarious.
this is my mother. Everybody say hi to my mom. Tanya's in the chat. Hi, Mom. Anyway.
That's really funny.
Anyways, are you I'm sorry. Today is like a lot. I feel like I'm the one who's playing the drinking game, and I've only cut out once, surprisingly, but I'm not. I have a big fat ginger ale right here. We're just high on life, I suppose.
4 sips would say otherwise on your internet, by the way.
Oh,
you had the one bad one. You've had 3 minor hiccups, which I also take to mean is a sip. Am I right?
Yeah,
right.
I mean, I feel that.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. So I honestly don't follow up with either of these clowns, Steven Crowder or Sam Seder. I'm not going to call Sam Seder a clown because I actually like him after seeing this. But my dude, Ethan Klein, brought them together. And honestly, Joe, you can just like play the clip. This is how it went. Steven Crowder really did not want to interview Sam. I think it had something to do with his dad, but I'll elaborate on that after we watch it.
Just lazy with your research?
And if big tech is,
you continue with the lie. You need to research to say, did Steven ever accept?
They said you were.
Let me explain to you. Let me explain to you. Hey, whoa, Sam,
and you literally
Sam, sweetheart, Sam, fake stand-up comic who we can't find any footage about online. Let me finish.
I'm not a stand-up comic.
Oh, you're not? Okay, that makes sense because everything that I've seen is incredibly unfunny and unentertaining, which may explain the audience.
Irony alert, Stephen.
Comedian.
How much have you watched of my stuff, Stephen, that you think that your audience wouldn't appreciate our discussing things?
Samuel, can I answer your question?
Yes.
So basically what I kind of wanted to show with that, Steven Crowder did not want to be debated by this Sam Seder character. Apparently they've already had one that was scheduled out, but his his team, which has been speculated to be his dad by somebody that worked for him, said that that's who replaced her. And another person from like a higher up said that it was literally his father. It's not his team. They don't want him to do it for some reason. Obviously, it's because he would totally get wiped out because he has no real facts or anything, because many people like him don't actually believe in what they're saying. They kind of just do it for the money. But he backed out of it basically after just throwing insults about Sam's appearance and, calling him a stand-up comedian, even though he's never identified as a stand-up comedian or called himself that at all. He does a politics show so he even said it himself. It's significantly even more dry than how ours kind of used to be. It was very straightforward, not comedic at all. So I just don't understand what the reasoning for that is. And also it kind of just goes to show, same thing with the Fox News and everything. I was kind of watching that last night because none of my service or anything was working. So I had no choice but to watch freaking Fox, I guess, for some kind of entertainment. And it's just these two lunatics arguing about nothing. How is that? What is a Republican news source at this point? I guess, who do you have left? This guy is sitting up here with a gun holster, a leather gun strap, he's prepared for somebody. What is going on here? How do people still follow him after this kind of stuff?
So Steven Crowder is one of those people who you can't debate that guy because that guy doesn't think he's wrong about anything.
Mm-hmm. Clearly he will not even do it. He'll just log off.
Yeah. Well, because he's a big tough guy. He just talks over people and then doesn't. And that guy's an idiot. He's the idiot from the right change my mind meme.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody's ever seen that. It's him sitting at a table on a college campus, and it's I think it's something really fucked up. It's about rape or something, and he's I don't even know.
It's something stupid, and again, just meant to get a reaction from people. Unfortunately, as is usually the case, there's always going to be some creepos out there who sort of buy into what they're hearing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's the thing. It's people are diehard fans of these kind of guys.
Yes, that's literally what they make their money on, is that sort of thing. And I don't, look, you'll know what I'm saying here, right? We've been accused of not having on enough conservative voices, even though they just all cry and quit and complain.
Right. That's why we don't. It's because we try and then they're we can't.
Right. Sorry that some of your opinions seem a little racist. Calm down, dude. Tell me why it's not then. So, look, you've got a whole, again, the right-wing media and the way they talk about the mainstream media absolutely cracks me up, because the same thing they accuse the mainstream media of is what they're doing with their smaller pocket. That's really all it is. It's funny. Sam Crowder asked Sam Seder if he had done any research, and then somehow thought Sam was a comedian. Again, the irony in, did you do any research? Did you dumbass? What are you even talking about? But listen, Steven Crowder is one of those faces on the right because of that sort of Trumpian, you can't tell me any different. You can't, whatever your facts are, feelings don't care about your facts or whatever nonsense. It's so idiotic. And when I see people like Steven Crowder and people like Candace Owens, they're opportunists. Though, I know people in conservative radio. I worked with Glenn Beck. I know people will say anything that they know will get them an audience and get them a paycheck. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people in this industry that do that. I don't, and I never have. I feel really good about the things that I say and the things that I do and the opinions that I have. And a lot of people who used to agree with me on a lot of stuff don't. And they're like, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with you? You could research all of the things that I talk about here each and every single week. I'm not here. How many times have I talked about fixing the Republican Party as opposed to, people wanting it banned and abolished? I'd like to see it fixed. It'd be nice if we're only going to have two parties that one of them doesn't completely suck.
Right.
I think that's only right. I mean, it puts me in a bind because I have to vote for Democrats because the option on the other side is increasingly getting weirder and worse just in their beliefs and in the nonsense that they say. Man, there's so many Republicans right now. I think I mentioned this. I don't know if it was on this show or on Rob's, but we were talking about, they used to say, what do you care about the national politics, man? Worry about what happens in your own town. Dude, these local governments are terrible now. I've talked to, I live in Wethersfield, Connecticut. It's a racist town. BLM was here. They were like, why don't we pass a resolution, Democrats and Republicans alike, condemning all acts of racism in this state? And
everybody was like, fuck that. We want it for sure.
Republicans absolutely freaked out about it. Like this is what it came down to, Victoria. It was like an admission to the libtards that they were right about everything.
Mm-hmm.
And that ain't happening. You know what I mean? Like, and again, I've said this before. I'm like, our Republican mayor, boy, he would have been all over the news. He would have been all over the news. You could still be a Republican racist guy if you want, but people have been like, whoa, like that was a really like nice bipartisan kind of thing to do. Right? But opportunity passed.
Right. I mean,
because again, Victoria, they don't ever want to admit when they're wrong. It would be the worst thing in the world because don't forget, liberalism's a mental disorder.
I mean, yeah, dirt.
So they can't admit to a person who's not in their right mind that they're right.
I think it was Steven Crowder or somebody like that. Maybe it was Ben Shapiro. I think Ben Shapiro must have said it at some point, but he was like, and actually all or most liberals are diagnosed with a mental health condition, so they can't be. They're clearly unstable. They're clearly the more unstable party. So it is a mental condition.
There's a lot of mental health issues in this country. It affects a lot of people in a lot of ways.
It seems like the liberals are the only ones getting help for it. We're the only ones that are trying to be uncouth.
Well, again, because you have to admit you have a problem, and
right, exactly.
Listen,
at least we're there. Step one.
The problem with liberals is they want to get it all off their chest. You know what I mean? They want to get absolved of all of their sins, and it's like you shut up. Nobody cares. Listen, right at the end of the day, does anybody care what I think about the Stop the Asian Hate campaign? Does anybody care what I think?
Well, I feel like people care if you care about it or anything. Like, you know what I mean? Like, do you are you an asshole?
Cares.
Are you like an all lives matter type of guy?
Nobody cares if I'm on here. I'm like, I think that's a good thing. I mean, and of course it's a good thing, I'm so confused by people who don't think those are good things. People who don't, liberals don't suspend their critical thinking skills, unlike Republicans. I find this is really, I think, ultimately what it comes down to is, and I sort of laugh at this, but like liberals are playing a different game than conservatives are. Like liberals are like trying to figure out like, how do we patch the divide here? How do we present these people with facts so we could change their mind? And it's like, you could literally dig like the body of Christ up and show these, and they would, if that's not what they want to believe, they will not believe it. Okay. I can't even tell you how many people if Donald Trump found the cure for cancer, liberals would still hate him. And it's like,
no,
are you out of your mind?
Like, you know
what?
I mean?
So a guy who doesn't do anything good, you're like, if he became the Pope, you'd still hate him. And you're like, what? But he wouldn't. He would never be. How would Donald Trump find the cure for cancer? First of all, how? He wouldn't. So that just in and of itself, that's completely stupid.
I don't know. I feel like I kind of get it. I mean, I would definitely still call him a racist if he found the cure for cancer. But yeah, seriously.
Well, sure, those things are not mutually exclusive. What does him finding the cure for cancer have to do with him picking on minorities and transgendered people and immigrants? How does one absolve that from the other thing?
Well, that's what yeah, exactly. But I feel like that's what like people expect us to do with like everybody, you know what I mean? It's like they do one good thing or they donate something. We were kind of talking about it with Billie Eilish, and like obviously hers isn't as severe. She said something when she was 14 years old, but like, you know what I mean? Like once you do one good thing, it doesn't just automatically absolve you, especially when you're Steven Crowder. And like I can't even lie, when I was preparing for this episode, I was looking up like I was trying to find like a compilation of like his most just like obscene things that he just said so I could throw something together and just really show you how much of a douchebag he is. But there was nothing like that. The first thing that came up when I typed into YouTube, Steven Crowder worst moments, is from his own channel. It's just like it's just like the videos that he posts. He says, when transgenders attack, changed my mind. That's a video title. All the time, Steven Crowder made Ben Shapiro uncomfortable. He made Ben Shapiro uncomfortable. How do you do that? Right?
Generally, if you want to make Ben Shapiro uncomfortable, you should have a vagina.
Yeah, seriously. What about
that? Seems to really overwhelm that guy.
Maybe it was the huge, you know what I'm saying? Because Ben is tiny. He is small man. But anyways.
Yes. Did you hear what he said last week? He was saying something about he like doesn't understand that women enjoy sex, which I feel horrible for his wife. I mean, Jesus. What is that
Ben.
poor woman dealing with? Yeah, it's absolutely sad. Again, I would say these guys mostly don't believe the stuff that they're saying. I mean, if it really came down to it, but what gets clicks? What puts asses in seats? Saying smart, sensible things, or saying things that, like, again,
saying rape culture is a myth. Direct quote from his YouTube channel.
Dude, right? But again, Victoria, there's a percentage of the population that's like, yeah, it is. It's a myth. And it's like Steven Crowder probably doesn't really believe that. But he knows that there's dudes out there that are get all fired up about it. That's what a disgusting opportunist is.
Yeah, but like, how do you sell yourself as that? Like, how do people surround? Like, I literally, is everybody
Victoria,
in his life just in on it? Like, I don't get it.
There's a market for anything. And if you're willing to get down and dirty and go for it, like Steven Crowder was more than happy to do, there you go. There's money to be made saying the kinds of crap that these guys are saying. And, you know, we're talking about it and they get under your skin. And that really, at the end of the day, is all they're really trying to do.
The last thing that I wanted to talk about is we were talking about Brock Turner earlier. I know you brought him up. Also, I literally can't, when I was frozen out and I like came on to see what I was frozen as, I see the title. You put Kodak Bear. Bless your heart.
Oh
Kodak
my God.
Bear.
Wait a minute. His name's not Kodak Bear. Kodak Black.
Love that dad moment for you, but it's okay.
You know, it's funny. When I first saw that, I thought we were talking about Kodak Bears tonight. And I thought, that's great. You know, somebody needs to save the Bears. I'm down for saving the Bears.
Kodak Bears, because nobody is.
I thought that's great. Somebody's got to talk about these Bears. I'm glad we're doing it.
Frank right here, he says, who cares about Kodak Black? I don't anymore at this point because I just found out. This is the thing, is I had no idea about any of this. And that's why I'm so like mad. Maybe I'm the only one that didn't know. Maybe I'm living under a rock, but I haven't seen like anything. So apparently Kodak has avoided prison in South Carolina for a sexual assault case against him. He was with a literal minor in 2016 in Florence, and he got out of it. And it was like, I don't want to go into detail, but it was like violent. Like, it wasn't like just because she was a minor, like she said no and everything too. And that's my understanding, is that she was a minor. But how is he just like out of jail? Talk about freaking Brock Turner over here. He served 6 months at least. He's just he is rolling in peace. If anybody knows my references. If like, what the hell? That is so fucked up. Why is he not in jail right now?
Oh, it's the world we live in. This is I don't know, man. This for everything I was reading about this dude. Yeah, I mean, he should be in jail. And if you have money, the law applies to you differently. And if you have a certain amount of money, the law doesn't apply to you at all. You should never talk to the police about anything. You should never admit anything to the cops, even when they're like, nah, if you just tell me it's all good. Anybody who's seen Making a Murder knows what I'm talking about. You're not going home if you just admit it and it's good. It's never good. But if you have money and you can afford a lawyer, you can get out of anything in this country. The problem is, who could afford a lawyer? Right. Not poor people.
But like, how did like that was like a huge thing that his name is Brock Turner, right?
Yes.
Like that's a huge case, and he only got 6 months. And how is nobody talking about this? That's kind of where the outrage is everybody kind of just accepted it at this point. Like, oh, this is what it is. So it's just like, oh, that's just Kodak for you. Like, what?
I like that we're all calling him Kodak Bear now.
Kodak Bear.
I really do. I wonder if they're not talking about him because other than you, no one knows who this dude is. Could that be a thing?
What do you mean nobody knows who this dude is? I'm going to be completely straight up. If you don't know who this dude is, you are under a rock ski.
What is he saying?
You don't want to know. Like, what do you want me to perform it for you? Like, because you're not going to know any. Like, you're going to be like, oh, yeah, that one. That rings a bell right there.
Maybe. No. What's his big hit? What's the Kodak Black hit? What does he? What's he do? Does he do it? Does he have a dance? Does he have one of those songs with a dance?
No, not really.
I'm gonna show you how to shimmy. It's not one of those.
Absolutely not.
No, he's not that guy. Yeah, is he a mumble rapper? I know that's a thing. Does he mumble rap?
I could say some stuff, but it would be pretty vulgar. Let me just tell you this. One time when I was like probably like 14 or something like that. Is my audio out?
No, you're doing great.
Loves it. But like, I just want to make sure I'm contained in your headphones before I spew this out right now.
You're on fire.
Oh, okay, good. But so oh my God, I was like 14 and I wanted to go to a Kodak Black concert. And my mom pulls up like the lyrics to one of his songs and she just read out in front of me, like full serious face. I tell that baby to come over because I'm fucking horny. Like she just screamed that at me. That's a Kodak lyric. If you know, that's Kodak for you. That's what he performs. That's what he sings. But he also rapes people, you know? So it's like that lyric really did not age well. You know?
Well, sure, no, but
it is like cheese.
Would it stand the reason that a guy that would rap something like that is probably on the rapier side of the scale? I mean,
and I meant is my audio on your end in your headphones? Not can you hear me? Like, do you know what I'm saying? I'm saying, you do get it now? Like, am I in your headphones or am I coming out everywhere? You have no idea. It's fine. Somebody in the audience knows what I'm talking about. Knows what I'm saying.
Is that a Kodak Bear line?
No, I'm literally asking you a question because I didn't.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, no, you sound fantastic.
In front of a child, you know what I mean? I just sang that Kodak lyric to you, and I didn't want to scar.
Oh no, yeah, no, it's all in my headphones.
That's what I was saying. Yes. Yeah, like am I blasting in the open or am I contained?
No, but listen. I'm sure I have a daughter who just turned 18. I'm sure she knows who Kodak Black is. I'm sure she loves Kodak Black. It's a song. It's got words in it. Who gives a crap, man? I don't. Again, listen. You have two options.
I'm just explaining who he is.
I understand. Right, my kids were just making me watch. Who's the devil guy? Who's the guy that has sex with the devil or whatever that nonsense is?
Lil Nas. We've talked about him on the show before.
Yeah,
we like him.
My kids are all about it, right? Like, I've already seen it because I'm super hip.
Yeah, you were so hip, Kodak Bear. You're
so hip. But yeah, look, the dude should be in jail, and I'm glad we're talking about it now. I again thought we were talking about bears, but I'm glad we're talking about a guy who should be in jail because he should be. But you know who else should be in jail?
Ooh.
Donald Trump.
Totally true.
Again, it goes back to what we were saying before. If you got the dough, you don't have a problem. I was going to try to make a rhyme there, and I decided not to, and I'm glad I didn't.
I mean, I kind of wish you did. That would have been spunky and fun. Even if it flopped, it would have been like a good moment for you, you know?
Yeah. I was thinking hard on it, and I passed. I did.
Do you want to do one more? Do you want to talk about one more thing? My mom's sending me topics rapid fire right now.
What has she got?
And there's no link for this one, so I'm not sure the accuracy. So shout out for this. She says, IKEA in Georgia put together a Juneteenth menu for their employees that consisted of fried chicken and watermelon. 33 employees didn't show up. How fucked up is this world? And of course, we're in Georgia. Thank God this is nowhere near us. But are you kidding me right now?
You know what? I don't... Here's the problem with this. Was this just like somebody thought this up as like, man, they're gonna love this. They're gonna love this. So I think they like chicken. I think they like watermelon. They're gonna love this.
Obviously meant to be offensive. Like, are you kidding? Like, it wasn't just somebody trying to do a good thing. Are you kidding me right now?
No, I'm not. I'm saying, sometimes it's like, I don't know, maybe you ask somebody, like I'm like, Victoria, you're in charge of planning our Juneteenth festival. And you're like, oh yeah, great. And you're like, oh man, like, I wonder what I should make. And you're like, hey, what should be like the Juneteenth menu? And I'm a jokester. I'm like, oh, you should do chicken and watermelon. And you're like, oh, yeah? All right. I'm like, oh, yeah.
No, you know what I would say? I would say, how about we do a day off like we do for all these other freaking national holidays?
Better.
That's what I'd say. Come on, IKEA. How about that? Like, what the hell? We're going to do? Are you kidding?
Yeah. Listen, that's horrible. But I feel like that sort of thing happens a lot where, again, I don't want to say it's people who don't understand anything. Remember when we had somebody on this show and I told him he doesn't know anything about the actual issues. He only knows his talking points.
Yes. Yeah, that's like most of these.
But I feel like this is sort of kind of feeds into that ignorance where, again, this is either somebody did something nasty and intentionally picked that menu, or this is somebody this is somebody who just like, well, what do I know about black people? Let me tap into my stereotypes.
There's no I just feel like there's absolutely no way. I feel like the fact, there's with more elaboration, mac and cheese and collard greens. That's like disturbing. Like, there's no way that was just a coincidence. Like, that was planned out. And I would really like to know who it was planned out by. And are they fired? I feel like that's a hate crime. That's crazy.
Well, again, like the people from IKEA, aren't they like Swedish?
Yeah, they do have meatballs.
I mean, they apologized. They said they didn't intend to offend. Again, I'm not excusing it. I'm not excusing it at all. What I mean to say is people are so stupid and so ignorant that I'm telling you, I think somebody's like, oh, you know what? Like, this would be really good. In 2021,
a grown adult did that. It's not like a 13-year-old, not like a Billie Eilish moment. A grown adult who has a job did that. There's no way they could have made it that far. We're
assuming it's a grown adult.
Dude, I feel like
I'm just saying, what if it's some idiot 18-year-old like, hey, you're in charge of social media? Like, oh, all right, oh, this is gonna be great. Like, oh, Juneteenth, you know what they're gonna like? Oh, I bet you they like fried chicken and watermelon.
But even if you are like 18, it's 2021. That's even more of not an excuse to do that kind of stuff because you're like really with it.
Oh,
like you should be.
I'm not excusing it. I'm not excusing it. And if it was intentional, whoever did it needs to be fired, and they need to be made public so that we can all make sure to avoid that person. You know what I mean? Again, what I mean to say is I think people are really stupid, and I think sometimes people don't know the things that they're saying are racist or sexist or misogynistic or xeno. I don't think people know all the time. I think a lot of the things come out and it's absolute ignorance, and it comes out really stupid. And I mean, again, their comment was, we didn't mean to offend, and it was, again, bore out of what? Like ignorance and stupidity. So here's my other thing. We because we talk about this kind of like, why are people so pissed off by that? And it's like, you say to them, well, what if that, like I said earlier, if Joe Aguirre suddenly meant like a negative thing, I would hate that. You know what I mean? I would hate that.
So shitty.
I'd be like, everybody stop saying that. It's terrible. That's how I would feel. And everybody knows that. And everybody feels the same way. Everybody feels the same way.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, how do you not know how do you not know that that's like not cool? I don't know. Anyways, we went for I did see this. He did agree to debate with him, but like he said on his, like he's literally just like a podcaster. Like it would be like if I have no political background. Like we kind of just sit up here and have discourse, and we also don't debate people with like other political background. Like that is what their whole shtick is, that they like, this is like their whole thing. You know what I mean? Ethan even said it. Like he was like, I'm not intelligent. Like, I'll say it. I'm literally not even smart. So the fact that Steven Crowder wanted to debate me, and then when I bring an actual politician on that actually has facts, you back out. Like, you'll just debate some random guy. But when another politician comes on, he said that it was because he had under 1 million views. He didn't want to talk to him. And then he kept being like, take off your glasses. You have button eyes under there. And just like saying like really random like
bully guy things.
Like bully guy things, like super alpha male,
right? Which I'm sure his band of idiot listeners love. They love that stuff. He's literally just throwing chum to the sharks. That's what he's doing. They're stirred up. They feel that way. And again, I don't think Steven Crowder necessarily believes most of the stuff that he says.
Yeah, I agree.
Again, people talk about it. It pays the bills, and he's happy to do it.
True. Well, we're happy to be here too, not doing that. Definitely not being Steven Crowder. We're like kind of opposite. Like I feel like
Steven Crowder appeals to the poorly educated crowd. I agree with that.
So true.
And I think we're here trying to talk to a more sensible audience and to try to have, again, not a debate, but just a conversation. We just trying to
sensible
talk about
people like sketchy peasant.
Yeah,
sensible, good.
Yeah, people like Frank, man. Frank's coming up. Listen to this. Frank from Florida, host of the Speaking It Real podcast, is coming to Connecticut Friday night to do his show live from our studio. Very excited for that.
Wow. Love that. We need to start doing in-person shows. We need to get
whenever you're ready. We're about ready to start firing it up over here. We got cameras and all sorts of stuff. Rob's new season kicks off not next week after July 5th. But yeah, we did a test run last night, off air, not on air, and all systems go, and we'll probably implement that on Divided We Stand as well.
Sounds good. So everybody keep a looking out. You already know, clovercrestmedia.com/Divided We Stand. We're on iTunes. We're on Spotify. We're on the whole thing.
Frank says he's fully vaccinated, which is great, especially somebody from Florida. Frank, I am going to lock up to find China, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Vaccinated, but we still don't really trust Frank. No. Anyways. Thank you so much for watching, y'all. You already know we'll be back next week. Dust Woman and Joe out. Thank you.